Hi guys, welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, we got a fun one for you today. As you can see, we got a little hero image with the title of our page up there. It's got a background image in it and it's sort of fading out, blurring out, and then fading back in. And I've got it doing it over a 15-second cycle. And that's a really eye-catching thing to have on your site. Really easy to do. So let's get started. I'm going to enable the visual builder. And once enabled, I'm going to go down and we'll start a new section. Little blue button there to add a new section. Just click on the section above. I'm going to use a regular section for this. And inside, I'm going to use a single row with a single column. Inside that, for mine, I'm just going to use a page title or post title. There it is right there. Let's just save that for a moment. And I'll get rid of this section on top. Great. Well, there's our little post title there, and it takes it dynamically from the page title itself. So whatever you called your page, that's what it's going to say up there. And it's going to give the author, the date, and the amount of comments on there. Now let's go in there and just adjust this a little bit. Element wise, this is called metadata right there. I really don't want that on there. And we've no featured image on this. Now if you wanted to make it dynamic and use it on each page, you could give your pages a featured image and just reuse this module on each page and it'll have that particular image on it. We did a video on this previously. Okay, the actual design itself, I just hit the little paintbrush associated with it. It takes us straight to that H1 text. H1's fine for this as it's a page title. I am going to make it more of a blocky font though. Divi's got a crazy amount of fonts. To audition one, just roll over it. It'll give you an example. I'm going to use Anton, the one I've used before here. I'm going to make mine uppercase. I'm going to make it a lot bigger. That's great. I'm just going to zoom it in the middle also. Okay, I'm going to be changing the color on that in a moment. So let's save that. All right, well, I'm now going to go into the actual column this is sitting in. I'm going to put an image in the background of this column, and it's important you put it in the column and not on the actual row itself. So we're going to go into the row itself, go into the column, because we're going to use something called backdrop-filter CSS to do this today. So you have to put this in the column. That's really important. And we're going to go over, we're going to choose an image. We've got color, gradient, image right there. Pop in whatever image you want to pop in yours. Then there it is. As you can see, it's in the back of our blurb module. Now I want to take this, I want this image to actually take up all of our screen width there. And I want to make it a bit deeper. Great, now we've got that in there. We can just save that. And to make this thing full width, once you save the column, it'll take you back to the row settings. We can make it full width by going into design, sizing. Here's width. Just drag that up to 100%. Copy the 100%, Control C, and paste it in the max width below, Control V to paste. Or you can just type it in if you prefer. As you can see, we got a full width row right there. Fantastic. I want to make this blurb module a little bit deeper so we've got more of the image going on there. So let's save our row settings now. We'll go back into the actual module itself. First thing I want to do is I'm going to roll over my little pencil that's now over in the left corner there. Take us to those settings again. I'm going to change that to white. I didn't do it before because it would have disappeared into the white background. If you want a little bit of your image showing through there, you can click on the color and bring the opacity slider here down a little bit and it'll show a bit of your image in the background there. If you want to use that, that's fine. I think maybe just a hint will do for me. But I also want to make this a lot deeper. So we can also do that in design over here. We close up the title text. We can go down to spacing and I'm going to add some padding top and bottom just to make this a bit deeper. Let's try 100 pixels. Just put in the 100, it'll put in the pixels. Hit the bottom I think that'll do for me. Fantastic. Okay, as this is kind of my page heading, I don't want any gaps up here. So we've got a little bit of a gap. If you hover over the row, we've got a gap there that's padding. And if you hover over the section, we've got a gap up here. So if we start off in the section, we can get rid of those gaps by going to Design, Spacing. Just put a 0 in the top. Again, you don't have to put the pix in, it'll put it for you. Hit the chain, it'll do the opposite side. Fantastic. We need to do exactly the same in the row itself. Little green tab right here for the row. Design, spacing, you know what to do. 0, hit chain. Great, we've got that butted up against our header there and the section below. Perfect. Okay, now we've got to do a bit of coding. It's really easy, so don't panic. We want to make that thing blur out, then blur back in over a cycle. Like I said, I used 15 seconds for mine, but so let's save our row settings. Going to go back into the blur module itself. Going to go over to Advanced and Custom CSS right here. We're going to use their Freeform CSS tab, which allows us to write kind of complex CSS, which is great. Saves you using a code module. And to affect this module, all I need to write is selector, S-E-L-E-C-T-O-R. And I will select this module. I'm going to open and close some curly brackets. And in between, we can tell it what we want it to do. Well, I want to create an animation. So I'm going to say animation, colon, and we'll give it a name. I'm going to call mine bgfade for background fade. As I said, I want mine to run for about 15 seconds. And I want it to keep going and going, so I'm going to say infinite. Okay, now we've told it that we want it to animate with an animation called bgfade. We've actually got to create this animation. And as you've probably seen if you watch any of my other CSS animation videos, we're going to use keyframes for this. So I'm going to say @keyframes. Then the name we gave it, which is bgfade. Now I can open and close some more curly brackets and we can tell it exactly what we want it to do. Now, as I've mentioned in previous videos, keyframes, they're like stop frame photography, whereas you've got a timeline, which is our 15 seconds, and you can make certain events happen anywhere throughout that timeline. So we're going to start off at 0%, 0 and the percent sign. We'll open some more curly brackets here. I'm going to use what they call a backdrop filter. Now, it may throw up a flag, but I have tested this on several different browsers such as Brave, Chrome, Edge and Firefox, and it works absolutely perfectly. So let's put it in there. I'm going to say backdrop filter, B-A-C-K-D-R-O-P, all one word, dash filter, F-I-L-T-E-R. Now we can put a colon in there and tell it what we want it to do. I want mine to blur out, so I'm going to say B-L-U-R, right at the end of the R with no gap. I'm going to put some round brackets. In my first one here, I'm just going to put a 0. Because I want it to be actually fully visible when it starts off. Don't want it to be blurred out at all. As you can see, it's thrown up a flag here, but like I say, this seems to work on all browsers I've tried it on. Now for compatibility, just put a little semicolon after our little first entry there, and before that curly bracket at the end. I'm going to copy this one more time, and I'm going to do a WebKit version to make it compatible with more browsers. So I'm going to copy this, Control-C. I'm going to paste it right after itself there. Or we can drop down, put it on another line. Right in front of the backdrop filter there, I'm going to put a dash. I'm going to write the word WebKit and another dash. So that'll make it more compatible right there. And like I say, don't worry about this little flag that it's popped up here. Now we've got our first one. I'm going to copy it from the 0. The first ending curly bracket right there, not the last one, because that's encapsulating the whole thing. So we just want it from the first 0 to that first curly bracket ending right there. Control-C to copy. I'm going to drop down once, paste it in. I'm going to drop down once again, paste it in. Okay, for our second one here, I'm going to make that one 50% by putting a 5 in front of it. And this is where I want it to blur out. So I'm going to blur mine quite a lot. So at 50%, I'm going to blur it out. I'm going to put it quite a big blur. I'm going to make mine 30. Or after the 0, you've got to put a PX so it knows it's pixels. As you can see, that's really blurred that out. It's starting to animate already. Let's make sure we put it in our WebKit version down below as well. There it is right there. And this last one, the 0 right on the end there, I'm going to make this 100%. So that's going to be basically at end of second 15. It's going to come back to being sharp again and start the cycle off. And as you may have noticed, it's already started that up the top there. Now I'll put all this code down below for anybody that just wants to copy and paste it. But it really is a good idea to get in the habit of writing your code yourself, because it will take your editing skills to the next level, and it's really not difficult. I always figure if I can do it, then everybody else can do it. And it is that easy. So once we're happy, we can save our changes here. As you can see, it's blurring out and coming back in there. We'll save our page changes. Let's hit the little purple button. Save draft or publish if you're ready. And let's exit the Visual Builder. And there we have it. Initially, when the page loads, it's sharp, and over a 15-second time period, it's going to blur out, and then it's going to roll back into being sharp again. And you can slow it down or speed it up by changing the timing from 15. If you make it a lower value, it'll be faster. If you make it a higher value, it'll be slower. And as I said, the higher the pixel value you give it, the more blurred it will be. And that's a really sort of eye-catching thing to have on your site. As it blurs out there, it makes that text stand out an awful lot more. I mean, it's fine on top of the sharp image, but when it blurs out, it really sort of throws it in your face. So there you go, guys. There's how to use a little backdrop filter to create this blur effect on anything you want, really. I'm using it for a header here, but you can use it on different applications. So once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. I hope you enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget, if you have any questions, pop them down below. I'll do my best to answer them for you, or make a little demo video like this one. So once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.